All right, so yesterday we were doing elimination. Quick recap of how elimination works. You don't have to use it, but sometimes if you don't want to deal with fractions, elimination is a little bit better. So let's say you have something like 2 over 3x plus 5 over something that goes into 3, maybe 8. Y equals 11. And then on the bottom you have, let's give some prime numbers here, 2 over 7x plus 11 over 21y is equals to 3. You could absolutely, don't even bother graphing this, by the way. This question is probably the worst type you can graph. You could graph them, but it's going to be very, very difficult to find exactly where that POI is. Whenever you solve a system of linear equations, you're always going to find the POI, okay, the point of intersection. So you're not going to graph this. You could try substitution. Even that is a little bit tricky because you're dealing with a lot of fractions. Ideally, what you want to do is you want to kill off the fractions. Here, look at this. What's the LCD between 3 and 8?
24.
24, right? So you want to multiply equation 1 by 24, and the LCD between 7 and 21 is 21. So you want to multiply equation 2 by 21. So this becomes 3 goes into 24 8 times. This becomes 16x. 8 goes into 24 3 times, so this becomes 15y is equals to 264. And the bottom equation is going to become 6x plus 11y is equals to, what is it, 63. Now, again, we got to do this one more time. Which one should we do? It doesn't matter. You can either pick 6 or 16. Or sorry, you can either do the x or the y. So what's the LCD between 6 and 16? It's 48, okay? It's 48. So you multiply this by 3. You're going to multiply this by 8, and that'll give you 48x plus 45y is equals to whatever that number is. This will give you 48x plus 88y is equals to whatever that number is, 63 times 8, and then you just subtract them, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So if you do it this way, you don't have to deal with fractions. Now, how would you do this using substitution? I'm just going to show it to you. You're not going to go through with it, but if you do substitution, how does that work? Sometimes maybe the question will ask you to only use substitution. So let's try solving this equation for y. What I mean is I want y on the left-hand side of the equation. Everything else is going to be in the right side. We're going to turn it into this form. How do I solve this equation for y? Which means we're trying to isolate y on the left
You
side.
subtract 2 over 3 times x.
Yeah, you're going to subtract 2 over 3 times x. So this becomes minus 2 over 3x plus 11. Next, what do we do next? We need to get rid of that 5 over 8. You divide both sides by 5 over 8, okay? Now remember, dividing by 5 over 8, if you do a little bit of a flip, it becomes multiplying by 8 over 5. These two, they mean the exact same thing. So we're going to divide both sides by 5 over 8, which means we're multiplying both sides by 8 over 5. Cool? Multiplying both sides by 8 over 5. So that means this becomes, now we have a fraction times a fraction. Negative 2 times 8 is negative 16. 3 times 5 is 15. So you get this, and then you'll get 88 over 5, and there you go. That's what y is, and you want to plug y as that in here. So this becomes 2 over 7x plus 11 over 21 times negative 16 over 15x plus 88 over 5 is equals to 3. Next, you want to open this bracket here. Open this bracket, group up the like terms, solve for x. I'm just going to do this just to show you that it's not the end of the world if you get a question like this that asks you to do this using substitution. So 2 over 7x stays there. We're going to open this bracket. 11 times negative 16 is negative 176. 21 times 15 is 315x. Plus 11 times 88 is 968. 21 times 5 is 105 is equals to 3. Next, we're gonna group up the like terms, which means we're gonna add 2 over 7 plus negative 176 divided by 315. So I added them up, I got negative 86 over 315x. And on the other side, it's gonna be 3 minus that guy, 3 minus 968 divided by 105. So we get negative 653 over 105. Last step, you want to divide both sides by negative 86 over 315. So divided by negative 86 divided by 315, and that'll give us a final answer. It's weird numbers, but you get 1959 over 86 for x. You want to plug that back in here to find y. So y is going to become 11 minus 2 over 3 times 1959 over 86 divided by 5 over 8. So this becomes 11 minus 2 divided by 3 times answer divided by 5 divided by 8 to get a final answer of negative 288 over 43. So there you go. That's how you do this using substitution, even if you get a nasty system using fractions that have prime numbers on them. Okay?
Mhm.
Is 21 a prime number? Is 21. Anything go into 21? In other words, is it 21 divisible by any other number apart from itself?
It's divisible by 7.
Yeah, it's divisible by 7 and 3. Okay, 21 is not a prime number. What about 23?
It's a prime number.
Yeah. What about 29?
It's also a prime number.
Yeah. The next one is 31. The next one is 37. Okay. 41, 43. Like that. The next one would be 47. Prime numbers apart from 2. 2 is the only even prime number. Every other prime number apart from 2 is going to be odd. Anyways, let's go back. We're going to do a bunch of new types of questions today. We're just going to start off with some easy ones. So just to recap, I guess. You might get a question like this. Create 2 linear systems that are equivalent to the following. So now they've already given us a system. A system consists of 2 equations. They're asking us to come up with new ones. Okay, there's multiple ways to do this. I'm just going to multiply both of them by 2. So this becomes negative 4x minus 6y equals 5. The next one becomes 6x minus 2y equals 18. Now we have another system. Okay, now the solution for both of these will be the same. But you don't always have to do this. Times 2 is an easy one. What you can do is you can add them up and you can subtract them. That'll give you another system. If you add them up, you get x minus 4y equals 14. And if you subtract them, you get negative 5x minus 2y equals -4. Now this is another system that we got by adding and subtracting them. Okay, this one we got by multiplying them by 2. You see that? You can multiply them by 10 or divide that by 5, or you can add this one as well. You can add them, that'll give you one equation. You subtract them, that'll give you another. All these systems will have the same solution because their origin is the same. Okay, we just kind of manipulated it, but the answers to all these, the POI, are going to be the same. So this one, it says use elimination. All right, how do we use elimination to solve this? So this one's a weird one because it's not in the right order. We're gonna put it in the right order, okay? What that means is we're gonna move the y to the left side on the top part, move the number to the right side. Same thing on the bottom, we're just gonna rearrange it. 9x to the left becomes a plus, 4y there as is, we're just gonna write it underneath the y, and the plus 6 is gonna go on the other side, it's gonna become negative. Whenever it switches sides, the sign changes, like -9x, if you throw it to the left, becomes positive, plus 6 becomes negative on the other side, and there we go. So in this one, notice 9 and 3, yeah? 9 is the LCD between 9 and 3. So the bottom equation remains untouched if you want to get rid of the x's. But the top equation, what do we need to multiply this by?
3.
3, right? So it becomes 9x minus 15y is equals to -63. The x's, they have different signs. Do we add them or subtract them? We're gonna subtract them, right? Because we need to get rid of the x. So 9x minus 9x is gone. So the elimination, you're always gonna kill off a variable, whether it be x or y, whichever coefficients that you make the same, they're gonna go away. That's where the name comes from. We're eliminating one variable entirely. So 9x and 9x, we need to subtract them to eliminate them because they both have the same signs. So you get -15 minus 4 is -19y. And then you get -63 minus -6 becomes -63 plus -6, it becomes -57. That means y is going to be 3. Divide both sides by -19. And to find what x is, whenever you're solving a linear equation or a linear system, you're always trying to find the POI, which is going to be x comma y. So we found the y value. To find the x value, you can plug it into any one of these 4 equations as y. I'm going to plug it into this one, so I can just do this in my head. So this becomes 3x minus 5 times 3 equals -21. This becomes 3x equals -21 plus 15. Becomes 3x equals -6. X is -2. So there we go. That's the system solved. What that means for us is that these lines, so this one goes up like this, and the next one goes down like this. That point there, where both these lines meet, is -2, 3, okay? Solving a system of linear equations means you're finding the point of intersection. So this one wasn't that bad, right? We just had to multiply one equation by something. What about here? Which one do we multiply by what? There's multiple ways to do this.
You could multiply the top by 2 over 3.
All right, we can do that. So it becomes 2 over 3x minus 2 over 9y. is equals to negative 2 over 3. On the bottom, it becomes 2 over 3x minus 1 over 4y. It remains untouched, right? Like that. Do we add them or subtract them?
You subtract them.
You subtract them. So again, do this in a calculator. Negative 2 divided by 9 minus negative 1 divided by 4. So I get 1 over 36y is equals to negative 2 divided by 3 minus negative 1 is equals to 1 over 3. Now what do? We're trying to solve for y.
You multiply by 36.
Yeah. So you get y on the left, and on the other side you get 36 over 3, which is a 12. Now plug that 12 back in here to solve for x. So x becomes negative 1 plus 1 over 3 times 12. This is a 4, so you get negative 1 plus 4. That means x is going to be 3. And we are done with that question. Easy. Let's look at this one. So he needs 200 grams of chocolate. That's 86% of this cocoa. And then we have 99% and 70%. So keep in mind the numbers here. They've only given us 4 numbers. We need to find out how many grams of 99% he needs and how many grams of 70% he needs, okay? There's going to be 2 equations. The first one has to do with the total weight. This one, I'll give this to you. X is 99%, Y is 70%. What's the first equation? He needs the total weight to be 200 grams.
X plus y.
Yeah, X plus Y. Now the next one is tricky. This one's the percentage one. What is this equation? It'll be 0.99, okay, times X plus 0.70 times Y. What goes on the right-hand side of this equation?
0.86 times 200.
Yeah, 0.86 times 200, like that. This one we can just do a substitution. X becomes 200 minus Y. Gonna plug that in here as Y. 0.99x plus 0.70 times our new Y, which is 200 minus Y, equals 86 times 200, which is 172. How do you solve this equation? Okay, wait a second. I should have plugged that where the X is, not where the Y is. So this should be 0.99 times 200 minus Y plus 0.70Y. How do we solve this for Y? Just use BEDMAS. Yeah, straight up just open the bracket. So you get 198 minus 0.99y plus 0.70y equals 172. Collect the like terms. 0.99 plus 70 is 0.29y with a negative sign. Subtract 198 from both sides. You get 6 to negative 26. Next, divide both sides by 0.29. So 26 divided by 0.29 That gives us y is going to be 89.66 grams. And plug this back in here to find x. So x is going to be 200 minus answer, which is 110.34 grams. And that's how you deal with this question. Okay. Now, it may not always be chocolate or whatever. Will this question change if I told you, right? Would anything here change? Instead of chocolate, I'm making a chemical, right? And maybe we used, that is 86% acid. I'm using two types of acids. The first one is 99%, or alcohol, you can call it. The next one is 77 or 70% acid, right? I've just changed 4 words. Does the answer change?
No.
No, it does not. It's the exact same question. So they can phrase it differently, right? Depending on the context, they can be like, we're making a certain percentage by volume of a detergent or whatever. It doesn't matter. The exact same steps, nothing changes. So a class is raising money. They want to buy 35 desks and 3 chalkboards, and they need to raise 2082. To buy 40 desks and 2 chalkboards, they need to raise 2238. Determine the cost of a desk and the cost of a chalkboard. What is our X and what is our Y?
It's the cost of a desk and a chalkboard.
Yeah. So that's going to be our X, that's going to be our Y. What's the first equation? It's going to be this, right? So they're trying to raise 2082 for the first case. They're going to buy 35 desks and 3 chalkboards like that. That's going to be the first equation. 35x plus 3y equals 2082. What is the second equation?
40x plus 2y equals 2238.
Yeah. Now this one, again, you can use anything you like. I'm going to use elimination just so we kind of like divide it in half-half the ways we do linear systems. I'm not going to deal with 35 and 40. Those numbers are too big. I'm looking at 3 and 2. I know the LCD is 6. So we're going to multiply the first equation by 2. So you get 70x plus 6y is equals to 4164. What do we multiply this by? We're trying to make the coefficients of y the same.
By 3.
3, right? So it's going to become 120x plus 6y is equals to 2238 times 3, which is 6714. Subtract. Why subtract? Because the signs are the same. The signs are different, you add. The signs are the same, you subtract. So 70x minus 120 is negative 50x. 6y's are gone. And 4164 minus 6714 is negative 2550. So x will be 2550 divided by 50, which is $51. Plug that into any of the equations, we're going to get y. So we have 35 times 51 plus 3y is equals to 2082. So 2082 minus 35 times 51 divided by 3, y is $99. And that's the end of the question, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Easy enough?
Uh-huh.
This is the exact same question. Well, it's not the exact same, but you're gonna have two equations. It's not the exact same. Let me rephrase. Because that one we had x something x plus something y is equals to some number. But here we're not gonna have coefficients for the first equation. What's the equation for the total number of bills? There are 76
Plus
bills.
y equals 76.
Yeah, x plus y is equals to 76. What about the value? What's the equation for the money?
5x plus 10x equals 580.
Yeah, 5x plus 10y is equals to this. You can just multiply this by 5. So it becomes 5x if you want to do elimination. 70 times 5, 350, 380. Like that. Subtract. You get negative 5y is equals to negative 200. Y is 40. Plug that back into this equation that we had earlier. That means x is going to be 76 minus 40. It's going to be 36. And that's the end of the question. See, it takes less than 30 seconds to do it. And this will probably be something that's worth 4 marks. So it's not that bad. That's why it's important to do a lot of these, right? So once you're comfortable with them, the procedure is exactly the same. Doesn't matter if they give you a fraction. If they give you an equation, it's even easier because it's just solving linear equations. Here, this one is gonna be difficult. It's not difficult per se unless you know it. The answer is very simple. Okay, the answer is simple, but you have to think really hard. The thought here is difficult. So they've given us a system. 6x plus 5y equals 10 and ax plus 2y equals b. Right now the system is all unsolvable, okay? If they give us this, it's unsolvable. This is the only information they give you because you have 4 variables and only 2 equations. That system, you cannot solve it. But they've given us an extra piece of information. It has an infinite number of solutions. Right, infinite number of solutions. Remember, when you have two lines, if they intersect, you have one solution. If they're parallel, they have no solutions, okay? This is one solution, that's no solution. Or this one, I'm gonna let you think for yourself. How is it possible to have an infinite number of solutions? How are the lines arranged?
Like they're the same lines.
Yeah, they're on top of each other, okay? They're literally on top of each other. That would mean they intersect on an infinite number of points. They intersect here, till infinity on both directions. Okay, so with that being said, how are the coefficients related if the lines are the same? They're going to be scalar multiples of each other, okay? All the coefficients, if these lines are on top of each other, one equation is going to be the scalar multiple of the other. Does that make sense? Like if you have x plus y equals 10, then if you multiply this by 2, 2x plus 2y equals 20, these two lines are exactly the same. They're on top of each other. And we multiplied this by 2. This is called a scalar multiple. You multiply, scalar just means a number, right? It's not that important here. You just multiply first equation by a constant to get the second equation, and that's how you know they're on top of each other. So here, What's the scalar multiple? Look at the numbers that they've given us. They've only given us 5 and 2. That means if you divide this, right, by 2.5, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Because look at this. This is the only number that they've given us that we can work with. So this gives us our scalar multiple. 5 became 2. That means the first equation must have been divided by 2.5. Okay?
Uh-huh.
That means A is going to be 6 divided by 2.5. And B is going to be 10 divided by 2.5. This is a 4. What's 6 over 2.5? It's 12 over 5. And there you go. That's A and B. Two equations are going to be the scalar multiple if they have an infinite number of solutions. Let's do this one. So initially there's 1500 milliliters of milk in a carton and it's leaking at 4 milliliters per minute. Cool. What does rate mean? In a linear equation, what does rate imply?
It's the slope.
Yep. So what's our y and what's our x in this case? So the question was, what's our x and what's our y? Look at the units give it away. 4 milliliters per minute, right? Slope is always rise over run. So we know on the y-axis the unit is milliliters. And we know on the x-axis the milliliters is minutes, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So that means what's our y and what's our x? X is the minutes that has passed since 8:30, okay? Since started leaking. That's our x. X is the minutes, and y is the milk left over in the carton since 8:30. Cool?
Uh-huh.
Look at this. The initial milk is 1500, and we know the slope is -4. So what's the equation? You have the y-intercept, you also have the slope. So what's the equation of the line in this case? Remember, it's just mx plus b, yeah? The equation of a linear line. We know the slope is 4, but since it's leaking, means it's negative, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So -4x plus 1500, there you go, that's the equation. Or 1500 minus 4x, it's the same thing. B, determine graphically when 1 liter of milk is left. We're not gonna do this graphically, but how you do this is like this. You wanna find where 1000 is, because 1000 milliliter is 1 liter. So you go across this and you find out what the x value here is. Now we're not gonna do this graphically because 1500 is gonna be all the way up there and I don't know where 4 is. Like the slope could be like this, could be like, it's not very precise doing this by hand. We are gonna do this by using the equation. So 1 liter, is that our y value or our x value?
It's our y.
y. So y is 1000. This is negative 4x plus 1500. And this will be negative 500 divided by negative 4 is x. So x is 125. Okay, so again, remember x is minutes. We started off at 8:30. Now 125 minutes has passed. What's the time right now? Remember, 125 minutes is 2 hours and 5 minutes. If he started off at 8:30 and 2 hours and 5 minutes has passed, what's the time right now?
10:35.
10:35. So there you go. At 10:35 a.m., there's gonna be exactly 1 liter of milk left in the carton. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
See, this one's talking about gold. This is the exact same equation. X plus y is going to be 20, and 0.85x plus 0.70y is going to be 20 times 0.80. And that's it. Let's do something else for the last 20 minutes. Maybe I can just write it on the document itself. Chrome is not very good when it comes to this. I don't know why. But we can use Microsoft Edge to write on the document itself. Alrighty. Let's do this. So write an equation for each sentence. Zach has 10 75 in quarters and nickels. What will be the equation? Nickels is 5 cents, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Quarters is a quarter, 25 cents. So look at this. We've done a question like this just like a few minutes ago. We don't need this equation here. This is the number of bills equation. They're not asking us for that because we don't know what the number of bills is. They're just asking us for the money, right? So it's gonna be
So
0.
0.25x
Yeah,
plus 0.05y equals 10.75.
that's it. The total of 6 and twice a number. So we're adding 6. Okay, total means a sum. We're adding 6 with twice a number gives the same result as 4 times that number.
What does it mean by the total of 6?
It means this. 6, let the number be x, okay, whatever that number is. 6 plus twice a number, 2x, that's what it means. Total of 6 and twice a number. 6 plus 2x gives the same result, means equals to 4 times that number. What does that mean? What's on the right hand side of this equation?
4x.
4x, right? That's it. This one, we don't have to solve it. It's not asking us to solve it, but if you wanted to, you could. 2x is going to be 6, x is going to be 3. Part C, in a group of 20 people, there are 7 more men than women. So let the number of women be X, okay? Then how many men are there in terms of X?
X plus 7.
Yeah. Plus X plus 7 is equals to 20. And there we go. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now that one is not solvable though, because if you go to solve this, you're going to get 2x equals 13. You'll get x is equals to 13 over 2. Right? But you can't have half a individual. This is a discrete value, so I don't know what's up with this question. Let's try this. This may be a little bit of a fun exercise for us. Is it even possible? So there's 20 people. And remember, men always has to be 7 more, okay? Men has to be 7 more. So what are we doing here? So again, it has to add up to 20, yeah? So how do we even start? Women 0, men 7 doesn't add up to 20. Women 1, men 8 doesn't add up to 20, yeah? 5, 12 doesn't. 6, 13 doesn't. Yeah, this question is wrong because it's not possible. I don't think so. 7, 14. Now you've overshot it. Because again, it needs to add up to exactly 20. And there is no discrete values for which this question adds up to 20. So there is no solution to that. Well, not a practical solution anyways. But if they would ask you, then that's how you do it. Right? That makes sense to you, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no whole numbers that adds up to 20 if one is 7 more. Let's do the next one. Solve the linear system by graphing. Use 2 different methods of graphing, one for each equation that does not include a table of values. Okay, so we can just change this into y equals mx plus b. So the first equation is going to be negative x over 2 plus 3. The second equation is going to be negative 3x over negative 2 plus negative 2 equals y. So now you have the slope, you have the intercept, just graph them, yeah? So this is using the slope-intercept form. How else can we graph 2 equations? You can find the intercept, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You can straight up find the intercept, which sometimes is easier than the other one. Look at 1. Remember, for x-intercept, the y value is going to be 0. What's the x-intercept for the first equation here? At the x-intercept, the y value is going to be 0.
It's 6.
6. What's the y-intercept for the same equation? It's 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is a rough sketch of this one. Same thing with the other one. The x-intercept for the second equation is going to be 2. The y equation is going to be negative 3, right? The intercept.
Mm-hmm.
And wherever they meet, again, this is a rough sketch. Looks like they meet right there at 3, 2. And that's how you do this question, okay? You can either do it using the slope-intercept, or you can find the x and y intercepts. This one, it says solve using substitution and substitution only. Which one is the easiest thing to substitute here? It's asking us to do substitution. That means we're going to need to isolate one of the x or the y's. Which one would be the best? You can do any, right? But one of them is easier than the other. So if you, ideally you don't want to deal with fractions, it's going to be this one here. I'm going to substitute that. Y is going to be equals to 7 minus 4x. And then plug this as y up here. So you get 3x minus 2 times 7 minus 4x is equals to 8. How do we solve this for x?
You open the brackets.
So if you open the brackets, what do you get?
You get 8 minus 14x.
So you'd get negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. And negative 2 times negative 4x is plus 8x equals, what did we have? 8 on the other side. 8 plus 3 is 11. 8 plus 24 is 22. So x is 2. Plug that back in here. You get 7 minus 4 times 2. 7 minus 8 is negative 1. So there you go. That's your answer. Y is negative 1 and x is 2. Not that difficult. 4. Solve using elimination. Do we need to change any of the coefficients?
No.
No, right? Do we add or do we subtract? We're trying to get rid of the x's. Sorry, not the x's, the y's, because they have the same coefficient.
You subtract.
Yep. So 5x minus 7x is negative 2x. Negative 3y plus 3y is 0. 4 minus 0 is 4. So x is negative 2. Plug that back into any of the equation. So you get negative 10 minus 3y is equals to 4. Negative 3y is equals to 4 plus 10, 14. And y is equals to 14 over negative 3. Okay? So that one wasn't too bad. B is the same, except B, you're going to have to multiply equation 1 by 4 and equation 2 by 3. Let's move on. Let's try doing this. For each problem, set up 2 let statements using 2 variables of choice. Write 2 equations. Do not solve them. Okay. Let's look at the first one, A. 3 times the larger of 2 numbers is equals to 4 times the smaller number, and the sum of the numbers is 21. So we're expecting to get 2 equations out of the 2 sentences they've given us. What's our x? What's our y? It's not that bad, right? X is always going to be, x and y are always going to be whatever they ask you for. So we're going to say let x be the smaller number. And similarly, y will be the larger or the bigger number, okay? They add up to 21. What's the equation if they add up to 21? The two numbers, right? They add up to 21. X plus y is equals to 21. Now this second equation is a little bit more difficult. 3 times the larger of the two numbers is equals to 4 times the smaller number. What's the equation here? It's not that difficult. Look at this. It's going to be 3 times the larger. Y is our larger number. So 3 times the larger number, so 3 times y, is equals to 4 times the smaller number, 4x, like that. And you can use whatever you would want to use. In this case, I guess ideally it's going to be substitution. Y is going to be 4 over 3x. Plug that here. So you get x plus 4 over 3x is equals to 21. So you get 7x over 3 is equals to 21. 7x is 63. X is 9. That means y will be 4 over 3 times 9. It'll be 4 times 3, which is a 12. There we go. Y is 12 and x is 9. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That is it. Was this difficult?
No.
It's just a linear system, right? Two equations, super simple. Look at B. B is even easier. They sold 704 tickets and they made 29.52. So there's going to be two equations. One will be for the number of tickets. X is adult tickets, Y is the number of student tickets. It'll be X plus Y is equals to 704. So that's the number of tickets equation. The next equation will be the money equation. What's the equation here? We know it's going to add up to 29.52.
5x plus 3y.
Yeah, 5x plus 3y is this. And we don't have to solve it, but this one probably maybe elimination is easier. So how does that work? So you multiply the top equation by 5 or 3 or whatever whichever variable you want to delete. So I want to delete the x, I'm going to multiply it by 5. So you get 3520 there. So you have 5x plus 3y is equals to 29.52. The x's have the same sign, so you want to subtract it. 2y will be 568. That means y is going to be 568 divided by 2, 284. Plug that over here. That means x is going to be 704 minus 284, 420. There we go. 420 student tickets, 284 adult tickets. This one, we've done this with gold and chocolate and whatnot. Now we're mixing chemicals. Again, there's going to be two equations. One of them will be the total mass, or the total kilogram. The next one will be the percent. What's the first equation?
X plus y equals 600.
Yeah, x plus y equals 600. What about the next?
Um, 0.15x
Mm-hmm.
plus 0.3y equals 0.2 times 600.
Yeah, and that's it for that question. Let's look at this one. Golf charges an annual fee, which is going to be fixed, and then greens fee. That means for every game. 1 year, one member played 12 rounds of golf and paid $874. Another played 29 rounds of golf and $1188. What's the annual fee and the per game fee? Right. What's our X and Y here? Oh.
X is the greens fee,
Mm-hmm.
and Y is the annual fee.
All right, so Y is annual, so that's our constant. The greens fee we don't know, but we know the first guy played 12 rounds and got 814. The other guy played 29 rounds and did 1188. This question is asking for elimination. So you get negative 17x is equals to, it's asking for elimination because the coefficients are already equal to begin with. Negative 374, but you can always use the other thing. So x will be 374 divided by 17, which is 22. So that means y is going to be 814 minus 12 times 22, and the annual fee is 550. And there you go. That's the end of the question, and that's the end for us as well for today.
Okay, thank you.
See ya.